generation of evolution, the generation of change. During this vital time in history, we know that some things must change, but there's nothing new under the sun. Join us as we discuss the current landscape of politics, religion, and culture with your hosts, Jessie, Courtney, and Jay Kelly through the lenses of millennials. Welcome to Millennial Mondays.
Oh, Jesus. You know, praise God.
Oh God.
Lord, y'all hit like out there. Wait, what? Oh my God.
What?
I just noticed what you was laughing at.
First of all,
you know, the show is about on this last leg, honestly.
it was good.
It was good, and then y'all. And shout out to our guest. He's in the back chat right now. Thank you so much for coming on. We're gonna introduce you in a few moments, but thank you so much. So, welcome to Millennial Mondays, y'all, where we talk culture, politics, and religion. This is your host, Jessie Online. And give it up for one of our co-hosts, Courtney, Miss Courtney Phillips.
Hey.
How you feeling today, Courtney?
Thank you for asking. I feel wonderful.
I can't hear y'all. Don't hear me. I can't hear y'all.
Go out and come back in. We can hear you.
Bro, this blows. Chad, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's not. Get it together. I'm teasing.
Look at he can't hear us.
He can't hear us no how. I'm gonna talk joke.
It's him. Can you text him real quick and tell him to put on some plug-in headphones or something? But
I thought he had okay.
All right. So hey everybody in the chat. Listen, I had they cutting up already.
What they say?
Mark said, oh my God. He said, where's the false prophet?
The false
Lord have mercy.
Has any plug-in headphones? Let's see.
All right, so we're gonna keep it moving. So y'all, we're gonna just jump straight into everything tonight. We have a guest panelist that's coming on all the way from California.
New Orleans.
Lord Jesus, Lord have mercy.
Bruh,
can you hear
dude,
us? You
gotta change, man. You gotta change restream. I got here early and everything. It's been 4 problems. Ugh.
Can you hear us?
I hear early.
I can.
You can hear us now.
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Hi, Josh.
Lord Jesus. Well, how are you feeling today, sir?
I was good until the last 10 minutes, 20 minutes. I'm annoyed now, but I'm good. Good conversation. I'm good.
It's okay.
The girl in the middle, make it all worth it. Go ahead. Yes.
High School Musical. Okay, well, I was just about to introduce. This is Josh's friend, actually, that we're going to have on the panel tonight. So y'all, please.
Why don't you let Josh introduce him? I think he has a good introduction, a good.
Well, that probably would have happened if people was on time, But
he was early. He said he was early. Give it to him.
He was early.
When he was T-Mobile live stream service, I would have.
But if you wouldn't have came up here looking Bama, you wouldn't have had to turn it off. Now you got me over here telling your whole life story. You didn't have to even go there. Don't be doing me and my little $19 streaming app. All right, go ahead and introduce your friend. I'm trying to be polite.
I'm tired of week to week being the villain. So someone else is going to come up here and be a better one than me. He is my dear friend and brother, James Lamb Esquire, Cornell graduate, corporate lawyer, brilliant campaign fundraiser, and my personal boxing champion, James Bartholomew Lamb. What's up, boy?
Yes.
How's everybody doing? What's going on?
Doing excellent. Thank you so much for coming on to this platform, James. We've heard a lot about you, and I've done my research also, so you might get grilled. But so tell us a little bit about yourself. I looked actually at your LinkedIn, so if you got that notification, that was from me. So tell us a little bit about what you do in your day to day and everything, and what's your draw to like politics and things of that nature.
Okay, well, wonderful to be with you guys. Thank you very much for having me. I'm an attorney with Clark Hill, AM200 law firm. I spend my days dealing with warranty laws, warranty practice right now. I'm based out of California, where I'm licensed. It's actually mildly interesting, but only mildly. Lemon law stuff is immaterial. I went to law school because I was most interested in trying to find a different avenue to understand the concerns that beset our community. I spent some time as a community organizer. I spent some time as a sort of low-level politician, political, however one might want to phrase that, in Tucson, Arizona, many moons ago. And it's interesting. There's a point, it's during the Obama campaign, so we're all doing what we can for something that looks like the future. And we're going door to door in South Tucson, trying to register people to vote. South Tucson, Arizona is beyond poverty. It is a different kind of space. The class concerns that normally beset people of darker nations are emphasized in that sort of space. I used to describe it as dilapidated old cars and just like the young people all going nowhere and doing nothing. And stop at this one house. Young woman answers the door. She couldn't have looked old enough to drive, much less old enough to vote. She has a young toddler, holding onto her skirt below, while there's another baby in her arm. We're talking to her about how important it is to register to vote. Filling out the form. She looks at this thing and she asks us, which one is the party for poor people? And she's looking at us with these big brown eyes, and the last thing anyone wants to do in the world is lie to her. And I've been a dedicated liberal my entire life. I've voted Democrat as long as I've been able to vote in this country, and I could not, in good conscience, back then in, 2007, tell her directly that the party that I wanted her to register with was a party that would help her. It was exactly at that moment when I understood that there was no way electoral politics was going to be effective in helping me help people like the woman I was facing off against. Mm-hmm. I understood at that moment I needed to find some other avenue. I had to find some other way. And that's what pushed me toward law school, towards finding another way to help people, because you can't lie to someone like that. The opportunity is there. You have motive, but you can't do it.
Definitely. Go ahead.
Muhammad Gandhi on the line.
Well, some people got sense, unlike you. I don't even know how this man is friends with you, honestly, truly. But no, I was just gonna say that I definitely relate to you in regards to having I assume that you have a liberal lean to yourself, like you lean liberal, but
this nigga damn on the floor. We passed lean.
We'll take the theory tonight. We'll do that. We'll try that out. I don't know. It's interesting because most of us try to suggest that we are consistent in our views, but I very much doubt that. I mean, most of us aren't consistent. We don't try to be, because all this is situational. the normative concerns that are set in any kind of political conversation. I mean, think of it this way. I know at some point we're going to discuss Iran tonight and the ongoing war. I'd like to believe we could be consistent, but you replace Iran with any number of other national communities, and we're likely to take very different takes on what the right course of action could be, whether or not martial force should be applied, etc. So the point that I'm trying to suggest to you is that I would like to hope that most voters maintain some level of consistency, but I think history suggests we are not.
Yeah. I definitely had a similar story myself, where, you know, I kind of withdrew from a lot of the mainstream politics, especially after Trump was elected in 2016. And even before that, actually, just seeing things in the Democrat Party myself, especially regarding Hillary Clinton and things of that nature, and, you know, other candidates that were up for election at that time, that definitely like made me kind of start reeling in on politics. So I'm just now getting myself back out there, you know, talking about it at least. So definitely understand that. So let's see here. So I'm, you know, a big thing with me is I like to talk about like economics and finance and stuff like that. So Courtney actually sent over an Instagram reel. Let's see here, talking about like the current landscape of AI and things of that nature. So let's get into that really quick.
These are the types of roles that AI is being trained to do. We're also likely to see the rise of much more of a skills-based economy. So you don't really hold a job title, but you offer your skills. But over the longer term, we're going to have an economy that rearranges around intelligence being abundant. So right now we have an economy where the internet communication distribution is abundant, and then we saw the rise of podcasting and people making money filming 90-second videos in a car. What happens on the other end of this economy is going to be quite unpredictable. What we call work may be as strange as the idea of filming these videos and making money off of it. There will be new scarcity, but what the shape of that looks like is really uncertain. But we can say most of the jobs we see today will either go away or be radically transformed by this technology.
And so what? You're going to just end up with a world of entrepreneurs?
Most of us will be entrepreneurs, whether we consider ourselves entrepreneurs or not. You become this organization where you offer your skills to a variety of different types of projects, and that continues to change because AI isn't a one-trick pony. It continues to learn new skills over time. So we will continually go back to the drawing board and have to either upgrade our skills or move along and apply them to different types of projects. And that's going to be the dominant structure of what we would call the workforce. So this era of this kind of steady knowledge work, and you see this career path going upwards, that is going to be a chapter of human history. And we're entering into a new one. And so the challenge is going to be this transition period going from now to the other side of this. What does that look like? How do we keep power in check? And how are these new benefits and all the productivity and prosperity, how is that being shared? And those questions have massively been unanswered.
That's an optimistic view if everyone's heard one.
Uh-oh, Jesse, we can't hear you.
I had my mic on mute, my bad.
Okay.
What did you say there, James?
That's an optimistic view if ever there was one.
Mm-hmm.
There are plenty of professions in this society that can't be replaced by entrepreneurship, let's say. Because in order to trust certain professions, one has to trust the history, the infrastructure, the decades of knowledge behind it. Look, I'm an attorney. No one goes to a solo practitioner unless they have to. If you're any kind of corporate power, and most of the attorneys in our society, in the continental United States, as it were, work for corporations. This is why the average person doesn't find legal representation when they need it for issues that are based in law. Most of the time, people are interested in finding help for whatever issue that they can find, but you can actually secure that help when you can provide some compensation to the person providing you their expertise.
Mm-hmm.
Corporations have that backing. Individuals do not. This notion that we're all going to suddenly turn into entrepreneurs in what amounts to an automated society doesn't take into account how people really respond in real time to the nature of certain kinds of work. And just be honest about it, even on the plaintiff side, most of the people who are looking for assistance with whatever issue they have, whether it's a vehicle or a home or, elder abuse or, little Tink Tink got arrested by the police and it's unfair. Like, all of that stuff requires someone who has knowledge, expertise, and most importantly, infrastructure. The ability to take a case, see it to the end, to turn over every stone, find the exact way to help someone. You don't trust that to an automated system, to some sort of algorithm. No one's going to trust their own liberty to something like that. So it's hard from a legal perspective to look at that kind of framing and suggest that's the future for me.
I think you're missing some data there. Go ahead, Courtney.
No, go ahead.
I think James is missing some data.
Mm-hmm.
Firstly, I think, when she says it, she means it this way. But I want to go further with the definition of entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
Entrepreneur is the fruit salesman in India. Entrepreneur is the sandal sewer in Beirut.
Mm-hmm.
That's not our Occidental capitalistic entrepreneurship frame, but that is what would be similar in this new AI evolution, especially in the middle part. I'm sorry?
Freelance.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And then secondly, I think what James is missing is you're thinking in the traits of yesteryear. We are already seeing a removal and depletion of entry-level workers in law firms. We're already seeing where AI is assisting. Yes, there are articles.
No.
Okay.
There
are articles that I read as early as last year, where you're having entry-level. James, help me. The paralegals that are those ones that read the briefs and organize them. Like, you leave law school, that's
depending on
they still have jobs. I promise you.
What I'm saying is there are reductions in those. There are law firms who have removed that office from their law firm. As a matter of fact, I'll send it to Jessie, but I think what she's saying is more accurate than what our hopeful optimism is.
I'm going to tell you right now that I hope you're not telling me that law firms are leaning more towards AI to do paralegal work, because that's untrue. And we saw that in the Blackburn case, that AI is not yet working on it, but is not quite there to do the work legally. And I don't think that the young lady was saying that attorneys, nurses, doctors will their jobs will be taken over by AI. Not at all. But however, I do agree that people will have to develop a skill set that's in alignment with AI, and they will wind up contracting themselves out to provide a service to those that need a human eye, if you will, on AI. I do believe that. And I believe how we'll go into that is massive layoffs. And people are going to have to catch on. I don't think that that's something that the government is going to say, hey, this is a new skill set you need to learn. Go get this skill set so you can get a job. I think people are going to catch on over time. Okay, this is the skill set I need in order to provide for my family. Let me offer my services in
Well,
this way, and I think it'll be that way.
May I cite my source? Go ahead, please.
Well, I mean, y'all all got good points, and I'm somewhere in the middle.
You're always in the middle.
I'm always in the middle, always. But you know, you all got good points. You know, the specialties, they're going to always be there. But for, you know, everyday common folk that don't have a law degree, it's going to be rough out here. And you know, technology always is a disruptor. And you have to get in where you fit in, right? So I definitely agree with a little bit. I agree and disagree with a little bit of everything that everyone is saying. So Josh, what were you saying?
Here's my source. This is a LinkedIn article from 2025, October 3rd, 2025. AI is significantly reshaping the landscape for entry-level legal jobs with projections suggesting up to 50% of junior associate roles could be removed or eliminated in the next 1 to 5 years, with as early as next year. Remember, this is last year. Major law firms either halting or laying off those roles as of now. That's where I got that stat from.
I was about to say, James, your thoughts? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, James.
So every few years, there are people within the legal labor market who wax philosophical and or scare everybody about the scarcity out there for new law graduates. And it's always just that. Oh no, your beautiful son or daughter that you've sent through 4 years of college and now through 3 years of law school won't be able to find a job. Whatever will Archibald do? Like, I can't. Like, what makes it kind of humorous for me is that we've been hearing these kinds of takes on what it means to work in the profession without disagreeing at all with your source. Although, if I had read it, I definitely would disagree with it. I would definitely have to say to you that the issue isn't whether or not junior associates find work. There's always legal work. The issue is who trusts and who has the resources to pay for legal work. If you know ChatGPT is behind the brief that's being written in your name for your case, you're going to trust that less right now. We don't see the refinement around a ChatGPT to justify using that in lieu of a human practitioner of law.
It's actually unethical.
That's right.
Heard in
Completely unethical, but that's a whole separate normative question. Look, the more important question would be, are we willing to admit that there are forms of employment in the current economy that don't really allow for much innovation? And the answer to that obviously is yes. So where will new forms of information gathering and distribution overrun the need for those kinds of employment? Yes, that makes a lot of sense. Courtney, if I'm
Yes.
Thank you. I apologize. Courtney, I think, has it right in the sense that there's going to be a lot of employment that's not necessarily skilled or professional that will have a difficult time and will face disruption given the encroachment of AI into more and more sectors of our economy. The issue to my mind, though, is that it says the same thing to us now that we were learning in the early 90s when William J. Clinton was elected. All of us have to learn new skills. All of us have to actually apply ourselves to the global marketplace as it is today, not as it was 30 years ago. And those of us who are not interested in learning new skills, who find it all kind of hard or disheartening, or why should I not be able to work at the plant like my daddy? Like, sorry, this isn't your daddy's economy. And if you want to provide for your family effectively, you have to learn something more. I don't think everyone's interested in doing that, but I sincerely hope they would be.
I think they won't have a choice. I think it's going to come down to some families having to find a way to feed their families, and they're going to stumble into the skill set to be able to outsource themselves.
Don't y'all hate when you're on, like, you know, job report videos or whatever, and you're looking at the comment section and people are always, go get a trade. Y'all need to go get a trade. Go get a trade. First of all, half these niggas ain't even smart enough to take the test to go take the trade. If we keep it real, yeah, everybody's not fit for a trade, just like everybody's not fit to be an entrepreneur at the end of the day. Definitely don't go up there thinking you're a lawyer, a sovereign citizen on Chat GPT, because you're gonna go to Chat GPT.
Wow. Was not expecting to hear a Nick Offerman movie reference, but we're here now. So I'll say it this way. I think what's most interesting about this is that we always know who in our society and who in our economy and who in our community is going to be all right regardless. Like, there are folk who are just going to be fine. I'm going to be fine regardless. Like, I've gone to the proper schools. I've achieved the proper degrees. I have the proper work. I'm going to be fine regardless. The question becomes, how does the community fare? How do all of us together work through this new obstacle? And the only answer I can have on that remains that what we have to do is be willing to accept that there are different forms of learning, different opportunities that we can enjoy by virtue of going back to school and learning more stuff. The question for me in all of this stuff becomes those of us who say we don't have to learn anymore. We can ossify our perspectives on the world at this moment in time, and anything else is too difficult. On a personal note, somewhere right on the tail end of the pandemic, we moved out to New Orleans, my wife and I found myself post-pandemic trying to deal with living here. It's a new space. I'd been in California a very long time. I was not necessarily ready for what New Orleans had to offer. And I was huge. I was extremely large. Like, I was unhealthy. And my wife, in her infinite wisdom, decided to provide me on a birthday with like 5 classes at a local boxing gym. Like, I'm pretty certain she was trying to tell me something. But anyway, I go, and I'm trying to learn boxing. And at first, for months on end, it's cardio boxing. I don't lose any weight. I'm just like working things out. But eventually, things start to change. And at a certain point, they offer me a fight, and I'm working for that. I lost something like 50 odd pounds. I was 247 when I started. I was 193 during my most recent fight. And that wouldn't have been, I was the only person I knew who moved to New Orleans and lost weight. So
Right.
it was a different experience for me.
The only person.
The point being, learning new skills, being comfortable, being uncomfortable. That's the entire point. Every Saturday I'm sparring, and every Saturday people are punching me in the face as hard as they possibly can, trying to put me down. And every Saturday I keep fighting. That's what we as a community have been doing since we've been here. There's no question as to whether or not we can adapt to any of these new economic realities. It's only the question of will.
So let's go to the topic, the biggest topic that's been going on, that everybody's been talking about today. Very offensive.
After posting a photo depicting himself as Jesus Christ on Truth Social. The post led to accusations of blasphemy from social media users and sharp criticism from Trump's right flank. The controversy comes as Trump publicly feuds with Pope Leo XIV.
The things that I say are certainly not meant as attacks on anyone. And the message of the gospel is very clear. Blessed are the peacemakers. I will not shy away from announcing the message of the gospel.
The Vatican leader has called Trump's previous threat to Iranian civilization, quote, truly unacceptable, and has condemned the U.S.-Israel war with Iran. In response, Trump called the pontiff weak on crime and accused him of supporting Iran having nuclear weapons. Pope Leo dismissed the president's rebuke, telling reporters he has been spreading the word of the gospel.
Oh, my. We live in a very This is just a scary time, like, just for a lack of better terms. It's scary. You don't know what's going to happen from day to day. Who has public spats with the Pope? What's going on? Who?
I personally like this Pope a lot. I'm not Catholic, but I've followed the Catholic Church my whole life. Prevost, who is now
Well, you
Leo the
follow
13th.
everybody.
Prevost, who is now Leo the 13th, is a Pope that he's from Chicago, so he's going to spit back at Mr. Trump. What I find interesting is, and I keep
That Boost mobile phone. Mm. Bless your heart.
Lord Jesus. Courtney, do you have anything in regards to this whole spat and with that picture that was posted?
Yes. I
What's
blame
your
Paula White and the African Angels. Because when she went to the White House recently and was likening him unto Jesus, here we go with this post.
Yeah.
I blame Christian nationalism for this monstrosity. And lastly, I blame MAGA. But we are not surprised. This is nothing new. He's going to do his big one before the end. Welcome to the Antichrist. Thank you.
James, you over there ready to jump off the porch. Go ahead and tell us what you thinking.
There is something fundamentally immoral about the person in the White House. That much we know. But the thing that bothers me more than any of it, the enablers, the people who see themselves as only important in his shadow and are willing to endorse and otherwise execute whatever whims come into his head. There's nothing reasonable or even sane about the images shown from his Truth Social account. Depicting Trump as Jesus at best is blasphemous. But it doesn't take very much for the atheists among us to understand that everything we've seen from this president throughout his entire entry into public life has been about blasphemy. If you're willing to look at all of us square in the eye and say that Barack Hussein Obama must have been born outside the United States, you're just speaking blasphemy. We all know what we experienced in 2007 and 2008. We all knew what he represented, and we knew what he could not be. And at the same time we knew all of that, he was giving voice to the people among us who could not stand at any moment the idea that someone as dark as everyone on this call is empowered enough by their education, by their advancement, by the simple will of the voters to lead the nation. It's all blasphemy against our civic religion, the kind of religion that tells us to treat our fellow man as ourselves, to vote in what we believe in, support candidates who believe as we believe, who are tolerant and good and pure, and who see people of difference not as obstacles to be overcome or as people to be made subject, but rather as people within a body politic that we can call our own. Everything about what Trump is blasphemy. And the people who empower him, the people who have resorted to blasphemy to tell the rest of us that they themselves are hurting and don't have enough and can never have enough. Those very people are the ones who we have to turn to with us alongside and say, you are actually the problem. There's so many low education voters, low education attainment voters, who said, I really want to engage the Trump idea because I can trust a businessman to make sure that there's money in my pocket today. I for my family at the end of the day. We have watched his erratic behavior for over 10 years now, and we've seen that erratic behavior in recent memory close the before open Strait of Hormuz, empower Israel to bomb wherever is a brown person within the range of the missiles. They're going to be bombed and create nothing but disorder and despondency and violence everywhere they go. And we pretend somehow that anything that comes out of this White House, led by that person, himself president, can be deemed normal. None of this is normal. None of this is reasonable. There's lots of ways a person can disagree with the Catholic Church, with Catholic teachings, even with this Pope. But what we've seen from Trump is not about any of that. It's not about substance. It's seeing Trump as the only father leader that anyone can follow. And if you're not white enough to follow it, you must be made subject. You can't be made whole. You can't be made pure. You have the curse of Ham, and you can only be made a slave. None of us deserve to live in a country where the president of the United States, the leader of that nation, hates the skin we're in. That's what we have right now. That's why we have to fight it with every breath we have.
James, I have a quick question for you. So what do you call Trump circa early 2000s, late 90s, when he was hanging out with the Black community?
That's good.
What was he then?
He was a problem then. Plenty of so-called Negroes who run around calling themselves rappers and the like, shouting out Donald Trump in the 90s and early 2000s, pretending somehow they're doing something good. If you embrace nothing but naked capitalism, Donald Trump seems like the kind of leader you want to respect. But rappers as wonderful as Nas and as low as whatever trap star that's out there with a record deal right now have shouted out his name in vain because they themselves have turned their backs on much more uplifting, reasonable stuff that can help our community. Look, just because you hang out with Black folk don't mean that you deserve some brisket at the cookout.
Come on.
They've been giving out these passes.
I want to point out something that I find ironic. And to James' point about the civic religion that we all share, it amazes me how 92 million people being wiped off the face of the earth didn't budge, didn't get you in your feels. But a picture of Donald Trump depicting Jesus did. Pope Leo's name being criticized and his views being criticized did. We have an issue not only in America, but primarily in the church, where we seem to dehumanize the others. One pope is worth more than 92 million Arabs and Muslims, and that's a problem. And although I am offended by Mr. Trump's views of the Pope, I am more offended that evangelicals and Catholics alike didn't have this same energy last Sunday when a whole civilization was threatened to be wiped out.
Well, it wasn't their civilization, for one. And two, when have they ever cared about anyone who was darker than themselves?
That's my point.
I wanna go here. Josh sent me this. Y'all know I don't like this man.
Mr. President, did you post that picture of yourself depicted as Jesus Christ?
Well, it wasn't depicted. It was me. I did post it, and I thought it was me as a doctor, and had to do with Red Cross as a Red Cross worker there, which we support. And only the fake news could come up with that one. So I
Are you serious, bro?
I just heard about it, and I said, how did they come up with that? It's supposed to be me as a doctor making people better, and I do make people better. I make people a lot better. As an example,
the man said he a doctor in the sick room, he a lawyer in the courtroom. James don't know what he don't know what he do. He a lawyer in the courtroom.
Even
Okay.
Kevorkian didn't have this power. What doctor had light healing powers in his hand and angels behind him dressed alike? Like, this guy's a clown.
He,
And for
he said it was
Omanchuku,
like the Red Cross, like he was being like the Red Cross.
oh please. And for Omanchuku, this clown, and you know what? I've been respectful. I still would be a gentleman, but bro, at some point, dude, please look in the mirror and say, I'm a clown, man.
So
wait, why are you calling him a clown? He didn't condone what Trump did. He didn't condone it.
I'm not
read his message.
So the guy that we're referring to that
James, you're breaking up.
Okay. So John is a black MAGA. We talk about him all the time. He's the arch nemesis of this platform, actually, or at least for me. So he's a black MAGA. He's a part of the Church of God in Christ, and he's an assistant pastor in the Church of God in Christ. And he goes viral a lot of times for a lot of nasty and disparaging things that he says. He's called. He's played into that whole Michelle Obama is Michael, rhetoric and carrying on. So, we've always kind of, people that talk about politics and are aware of his existence. We've always pressed him about, calling out the LGBTQ arena, the black community as a whole, but never talking about white nationalism at all. And so when this post came out today, he made a post that said President Trump is not Jesus. I can't zoom in good enough for you all to see it, but he said President Trump is not Jesus. He's not God. He's not divine. In fact, he's never said he sees himself as any of those things. He's even said he doesn't know if he's going to heaven, which I pray he does. He sees himself as a doctor healing a sick country. In my opinion, he's a good resident that needs to stop posting so much. Put a slap on the hand.
It's that part right there. You are so bold and so brave and so boisterous when it comes to anything black culture, anything that's perceived to be a negative side of black culture. And this guy is obviously, clearly in a picture playing Jesus with the healing balm in his hand and the light to show it. And you sit there and dance around that dude? At some point, I'm going to believe y'all in this for money. At some point, I'm going to believe y'all have found a niche, you have found an audience, and a cash cow in MAGA. You cannot be this stupid and clueless, Wooden. You cannot be this stupid and clueless, Omanchuku. You can't be. I don't care what your beliefs are.
I'm sorry.
I'm done. Go ahead.
James, you were saying something before you broke up.
I apologize. I don't know if there's a connection concern. My only response to that is severe horror. I don't know. Like, I understand that there have always been members of our community, on a very, very small proportion, but always been members of our community, willing to embrace the most anti-black arch-conservative leanings in order to gain some measure of prominence and personal benefit. We've always had that. There's always been those kind of people around. Very small number, mind you, but I mean, they've always been there. That being said, it's hard to justify this. MAGA isn't so distinct from modern republicanism that is, a different class, a different order of connection. It's not, you wouldn't describe it, if you're using biological terms, through genus. You describe it through species. But that's enough to say there's something very foul here, and you should distinctly understand what it is. I don't take issue with Black folk who are more conservative than myself. I take issue with people who don't want to see Black folk as a whole, as a community, as a race, as individuals succeed in anything. And I don't know how a person absorbs the MAGA content, is willing to look at Donald Trump as some sort of savior, doctor, humanitarian, or some kind of Jesus-like messianic figure, and see that person as reasonable enough to follow and still support us. It's the reason that you'll never see me at a Kanye West concert. So, like, it's just one of those things we can just say no to, and I think we should say no to. Everything about that last video deserves disrespect, including the way it's sort of screwed up our connection right now.
It's the devil.
I'm gonna give a little Amanchuku just a little tinge of light, just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I don't think that he was agreeing with the post. I think that he was just specifying exactly what Trump was saying, but I don't think that he was in full support. No one in their right mind is in full support of that post. So I think he just
I
mentioned
agree.
it.
I agree, Courtney, with the first part. Here's where he lost me at.
Mhm.
You obviously can't condemn him. So you lie for him and you believe his lie. When the picture right there is stating the
No, he
obvious.
didn't lie for him. He just stated what exactly what Trump said. That's
He
it.
says
And I
he
don't think that
sees
he was saying it as if he believed it. He was just saying the photo is a depiction of Trump being as a doctor
what doctor,
or
Courtney, have you
whatever.
seen in the last 100 years dressed
The
like
point
that?
that I'm trying to make, I'm not saying that it was right. The point that I'm trying to make is that I think he was just saying what it was or what Trump said it was. And I don't think that he agreed with it. That's why he said that Trump should come off of Truth Social or he
How
should
about
come off of social
condemning?
media.
It's
That's what he said.
blasphemy. It's blasphemy. Say, no, this is wrong. You danced all around that. This is wrong. We cannot have this.
Well, you can't tell people how to communicate. I mean, he's giving comment. He's providing not commentary, but he's providing just like what we do. We post on social media. He was just expressing what it was. Do I think he should have condemned it? Of course, but he was just expressing what it was, and he gave clearly that he did not agree with it. Y'all really want
He
him
never
to just
said that.
stand
He
on
never
a
said that.
platform. He did. He said he think he should get off of social media and he should be quiet, is what he said.
How is that condemning the post then?
Because Courtney, let's be for real. Okay, I'm tired of it. Courtney, let's be for real. You know how strong his language is, and I don't have to go around here pulling up videos of what he's done and what he has said. Him and his father-in-law.
Mhm.
They're both very vulgar. They're very strong in their language. Why is it that now all of a sudden you can find, compassion for people that are, sinners? It's okay. It's
And peaceful words and careful words.
That's what they call gaslighting. That's a perfect form of gaslighting. No, it's
That's
okay
your
if he
breadcrumb
does
right
it.
Really?
That's religious gaslighting. You can sit there. I can play around with this, but when you do it,
in a perfect world. I'm not saying that Amanchuku was right. I'm just trying to give facts here, right? And so the fact is he did not agree with it. So we can't sit up here and say that he was all for this post. So if we're going to report it, we gotta give the facts, and that's all I'm saying.
Where were we wrong at, Courtney?
You were wrong in saying that Amanchuku was for it when he said that he wasn't.
I never said that. I said he danced around it and then condemned the post.
Because he didn't say what you all wanted him to say. You all wanted him to say, this is blasphemy and this is not it. We can't tell people what to say, right?
But isn't that dancing around?
But hold on, but can we give him credit? Can we give him a little piece of credit for saying, hey, the president has to be quiet? This was not right.
Courtney, this man is in everybody's business. This man had a podcast, not uplifting no one, literally calling out people, condemning them. This is the same man who did 2 segments on a dress that Jamal Bryan's his wife had on. This is the same man that has more gay stories on his podcast than anything else. But all of a sudden now we can't tell people how to say stuff. It's called patterns, and your patterns condemn you, not me. It's your patterns.
That's fine. His patterns can condemn him, but I'm just saying, if we're going to report on this story, we got to give the whole truth here.
All right, Courtney.
He did not
As
say
an
that he
evidentiary matter, Courtney's correct. If you have
you hushed.
evidence that he's actually made a statement one way or the other, you can use that evidence. If you don't have that evidence, then you can't say anything.
Thank you, James. I rest my case.
Ain't no case being rested.
Ain't no case.
Yeah, ain't
James
no
is
case.
an atheist, and James had more passion than Amachuku did, who's a preacher. Come on, bro. Come on, man. Come on, man. This guy's a clown. This dude is a whole clown, man.
I mean, that may or may not be true. The issue isn't that one person. The issue remains so many of us in the community who are willing to believe in these so-called gurus / influencers / whatever. I mean, the bane of my existence is Dr. Umar Johnson. I don't know how similar he might be to this person whose name I can't pronounce, but Dr. Umar bothers me on several levels.
Yes.
It's bothered me for years because what passes for Pan-Africanism coming from him is more vocal styling and being willing to hide from white people than it is any kind of actual benefit for anyone in the community. That being said, I also have to acknowledge why people tend to follow him, why he speaks so effectively to the concerns and sometimes desires of members of our community who want to see a certain kind of win that they themselves can understand coming from whatever dilapidated background they enjoy. So these people are problems, yes, but they're problems built around systemic concerns in our community, not the willingness that as an individual, this person or that is to confront MAGA where they see it.
Now it was one point that James had made earlier that I kind of wanted to expound on. You had made a mention about people are always being there in our community that were ultra conservative and things of that nature. One thing that's concerning me and that I'm going to make sure I try to do my due diligence at attacking in this next year or so is that trend is starting to rise. We're starting to see that sector of people, black conservatives or ultra conservatives or almost white supremacists at this point. I'm starting to see that more people are that have that ideology. They're growing more of a following, and I feel like it's having a lot of impression on our young men and women in their 20s and their teens or whatnot. There's this, I can't get the clip up like I want to, but there's a particular pastor out of Atlanta. His name is Pastor Phillip. What is the church name? 2819?
2835.
2862.
James, the same way Umar Johnson is the bane of your existence, for some reason, Phillip Anthony, what his name is the bane of JESSYE's existence. I don't know why. I'm gonna find out why.
Pam. Yeah. His name is Pam.
Phillip Anthony Mitchell. Thank you. I like that. Thank you so much.
Oh, okay. So, but yeah, so he had went on a podcast and it went viral, and he was talking about the war and demonizing it, the Muslim community and saying that they were going to take over the world, taking over America, whatever. And it's just like, to me, it's like, okay, so you never address the 7.7% unemployment rate in the black community. You actually chastise black young men and women, saying that we need to quit being disrespectful to the police and things of that nature. But you dance around all of the issues that are really attacking and plaguing our community. And like I said, he has a big following down there in Atlanta. Has a church that's like they wait outside for hours to go inside the church on Sunday mornings. And these type of people are growing more and more of an influence on our young, men and women that are, some of them are misguided. So, I just want to put that in your mind that these people are starting to get more clout around the community. And we need to, as people that's a little bit more, in tune of having having a community, just having community, we have to keep that in mind when we have these type of discussions. So
Jesse, you mixing and you lost me right there. First of all, Phillip Anthony Mitchell is not political. Is he conservative? Then secondly,
and that's a problem to me. That's a problem to me.
Then secondly, Jesse,
I think he is conservative.
He is.
He's very conservative.
There is a fine line, and I can understand why you feel that way. There's a fine line between, in this country at least, conservative values or what quote unquote Christian right preaches as their platform, and what most of us believe just in general.
It's given strong nationalism.
What preacher in this religion is not a nationalist? Not in the supremacists as if no one else is human. I'm saying, what person, whether it's a religion, ideology, or thinking point, doesn't want the country in their own image? Very few people.
Your blackness is not a side piece.
My Christianity outweighs my blackness. Once again, you cannot be white first and Christian. You cannot be American first and Christian, and you can't be black.
But I'm black but I'm black.
But you are.
The Lord knew I was black before I was born.
Christian first, though.
Okay, y'all have a conversation about that later. Have a conversation about that later.
But no, that correlates to what we're talking about as it pertains to Phillip Anthony Mitchell. Go ahead.
Blaming white cops for the killing of black kids. Instead, teach your black children to be obedient towards authority. And I don't care if most of y'all are black. You need to teach your children to obey authority. We need to teach our sons and daughters to obey authority. We need to teach our children to not fight against authority, not fight against cops, not rebel. Be model citizens. Stop being rebellious towards authority. Be submitted to laws and ordinances. Watch. The Lord said, give back to Caesar what belongs to him. That is, be submitted to governmental authority. You know why you're looking at me like that? Because you don't read. And an Italian cop drove right by me, and I locked eyes with the cop, and we stared at each other, and he drove by. And in that moment, I hear the voice of my mom and my father.
So,
these niggas. No. Jesse. Not saying it's Jesse. In all fairness, I watched this sermon twice, okay?
Yes.
That cut-up job is Fox News at best.
No.
That is a horrible. I watched that sermon twice because when I first heard it myself, I was upset. That is a cut-up job that has a twist.
Josh, the man said follow authority. He told black families if they don't agree with him in following authority, they don't read. Who is this nigga?
Jesse. I'm sorry, James. That is a cut job, James. What he said was,
who is this nigga?
What he said in the actual sermon was, we are out here now. This was in context to the sermon. We are out here. One of our sons who doing drugs or doing crime gets shot. Then we bitch about and complain about the cops shooting him rather than having our son not selling drugs. That edit cut it to where he's saying a guy gets shot and then we should ignore that and talk about, ourselves. He didn't say that. This is a horrible cut job.
No.
All right.
I heard the message too.
Okay.
No.
So Courtney,
he speaks like that almost every Sunday. First of all, you go ahead, James. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. There's so much right now, as someone who has spent time and energy studying constitutional law, studying criminal law, everything about what you just heard is wrong.
Come on.
The first point is that you, as a citizen, don't owe any authority obedience. I'm not saying don't follow the law. I'm not saying commit crimes. I am saying you don't owe supplication, obedience, what that Negro was talking about, to anybody. You have the right to disagree. You have the right to protest. You have the right to speak up about what is not working in your society. You don't have to just step and fetch whenever a badge with a gun shows up. I'm not saying don't be careful. I'm not saying don't be safe. I'm not saying don't recognize these people will shoot you. I am saying directly the same thing I'll say to my black son, which is you still have a choice. And anybody who looks like us, who turns around and tells us that we don't have the choice, we must just be obedient. We must just do what the officer says. We must step and fetch, for his ego does not care about you or I or anyone with his skin.
That's one the first point. Said that, James. No one.
No,
you're
that's
right.
exactly what it said. It's called method.
That's exactly
and
what
you
it
can easily tell what's going on. And unlike that Negro who looking like Khalid Muhammad back in 1994, I'm gonna say the truth. There's something very wrong when we tell black folk that the best thing they can do is just be quiet and obey.
Come on.
Whatever, Massa. Yes, Massa. I'll jump as high as you want to, Massa.
Listen to what I'm saying, James. He
not in 2026.
James, hold.
I didn't go to law school.
James,
I didn't go to Cornell. I didn't go to UC Irvine. Learn how the system works and just be told by that Negro who's sweating in a sweatsuit that something's wrong with me, and I don't stand up and say, no, officer, this is wrong, and you are paid by me to do something about it.
Do you think, James, for 1 second, James, that I'll condone that, bro? You know me, dude. I'm telling you, trust my word here, bro. That is not what Buddy was saying, all right, dude?
But he said what he said, even in that 15-second clip.
That is an edit. That is a
It was still wrong. It doesn't matter. Him telling us
that is a
him telling us to obey.
Let's say you're right.
Obey. Go ahead.
Let's say you're right. Let's say you're right, and that's an improper edit. The longer form of it, the one that you've been exposed to and I clearly have not, still suggests that there's something very wrong if the community doesn't focus on the harm wrought by the young brother in the community committing a crime or two, as opposed to what the police do to him. Here's the problem with that. What the police do in that instance to that suspect, again, not someone who's gone through an adjudicatory process, not someone who's been convicted in a court of law after having a jury of his peers look at evidence against him and then rendering a judgment. What we're supposed to believe is just because the cop has him in his crosshairs, is looking through the sights, is pointing the Glock, that we're all supposed to understand that the real problem here is what he did. Not what the cop may be doing to him in front of our eyes. What the cop is doing to him implicates all of us. It is a failure of the society that cop is working within to protect, and the child is in, living in, within, and perhaps maybe doing wrong or not. But when the cop is doing the excessive force, the boot on the neck, the 9 minutes of not breathing, over whatever it is, that cop is acting in your name and mine. That cop is saying that the society has judged him empowered to execute one of us whenever it's necessary to make other people who don't look like us feel more calm about society working for them. And guess what? That's not what I went to school for. It's not what you went to school for. Not what any of us went to school for.
Come on.
I don't understand why this is difficult. Negroes
that bald-headed bastard should be thrown out the community right here, right now. I don't give a damn who heard me say it.
Oh, he
Where
ain't
this is
said
start. Here's my rebuttal to what you're saying, James.
Please.
And you and I had this conversation about 2 years ago when there was some murder. Phillip Anthony Mitchell was pointing out the duality of the situation here. You are right in everything you said. I don't care how heinous a person is. There are laws that say the cop must still act in certain guidelines and certain rights of that person. What Phillip Anthony Mitchell was saying in this particular clip right here was, we get to a level where we bitch and whine about a person being killed, however heinous it is, and we share responsibility on how they got there. This is not a general person en masse. This is not you, Jesse, or Courtney. This is someone who has been a problem, who still, by the Constitution, is protected. However, most of us never do our due diligence before we get to that point. That's what he was saying. Then secondly, go ahead, Jesse, go ahead.
I want to, because, I guess he's never heard of a lot of these people. So I want to go here too.
Don't exist here. Phillip Anthony Mitchell is right.
Hold on.
I want to remind everybody this is not a black church. Don't exist here. Phillip Anthony.
Yeah, so it's a couple of things that Josh is leaving out that I'm,
You say he's wrong there?
Let me finish.
I don't know if there was enough there to actually form an opinion. I have no idea what else you want to say, but
so the reason why I have an issue there is, number one, he's not a foundational Black American. Him or the last guy that we were talking about, John, whatever his name is. That is required because we have a very unique experience here, having our history here in America. Whether I think Phil is Caribbean, that's one thing, but John is African. They don't have the slavery complex. They don't have the Jim Crow and all of that.
Oddly enough. Yeah.
And so how dare you sit there and disregard years of psychological trauma coming out of those oppressive systems? How dare you sit there and disregard that and tell a young Black man, oh no, what you should do? And then you're not even doing it in the guys, because I thought we all kind of had a notion of what goes on in this house stays in this house, and we have certain conversations in this house, and you're doing this in this, you having a Black on Black conversation, and this ain't no Black church. Half of the people up in your church ain't Black. And I have a problem with that.
In Phillip Anthony Mitchell's church?
Yeah.
It's culturally diverse, but it is predominantly Black. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Josh.
I'd rather y'all say this. I'd rather just say y'all mighty than to. Here's where people lose me. When you misconstrue evidence and facts for a point. Now, Phillip Anthony Mitchell, there's a lot to discuss with him that I have an issue with. But if we're discussing facts here and context here, if Jesse is saying that him saying there's no Black church is an issue, I believe that. Now, I'm smart enough to know, don't you know, the nuances of why there's a quote-unquote Black church. However, in context, he's speaking of in the church that Jesus said he was going to found, there is no Black church, no white church. That is context.
Jesus didn't say that verbatim. He didn't say that.
Right. He said there's neither Jew nor Greek, but I digress.
First of all,
here's
Paul,
the thing.
I'm quoting Jesus saying his church. Go ahead, y'all. I'm on mute. Go ahead.
You're right. I'm sorry. Here's the thing, though. Of course, you're going to say there is no Black church because you have a culturally diverse. This is not a Black church because you have a culturally diverse church. You have different races that go to your church. So, of course, you're going to placate in the pulpit to those races so that they can continue to come.
Most
Or
of them
give you
white,
money on
Courtney.
Cash App.
Jess was right. Jess was right. Most of them people are black. Those
No,
numbers are
Jesse said
superfluous.
that. Okay.
I had made a post, and I can back this up. I made a post on Threads that was going around in the algorithm talking about Phillip this weekend, actually. And I saw all kind of people. It wasn't just black people, it was white people, and I believe they were all his followers, Mexicans, whatever. They were all coming in, trying to drag me and all of that, on Threads. So
he has a diverse following.
Yeah,
he has a diverse, and I'm okay with
how
that.
do you have a black conversation amongst a bunch of others?
He won't, and this is the problem that this is the problem that I have with him. Hold on, Josh. And this is the problem that I have with him is that he won't have the black conversation, because when he has the black conversation, he tells us to submit. He tells us to obey. White people are not being told to obey.
You feel comfortable?
It's only us.
Off of one conversation. Off of one
James had a point.
I've heard, but see, you're talking to me. I've heard multiple messages from Phillip Anthony Mitchell. Multiple, enough to know that he's gonna play the cards that he's dealt.
The same way.
James
the
had
same
something.
way.
James had something to say.
I'm sorry.
Very kind. Thank you, Jesse. I want to point out that the magnificent Mark just brought up a good point about systemic conditions. And I also want to say that, thank you. It's important to address the root causes. That is true. That being said, I don't know the background around the various theological concerns that this particular person brings up. All I know is what my shirt says. Never argue with someone John Brown with a shot. I just can't. I mean, what I heard from that Negro was not acceptable. Like, I heard it, and my only interpretation from what I heard in this conversation tonight was that was anti-black rhetoric. And I'll say directly why. Anytime you are being told as a black person in American society, I don't care how foundationally you might consider yourself or not, that your only real choice is to obey authority, not question it, not respond in any other way, just obey authority. You are being told something that is trying to render you a second-class citizen. It's as if the badges and incidents of slavery, remember that, have never and can never go away. Nothing washes off because it's literally written into your skin. That's the kind of argument that man seems to be making to me. Now,
let's use critical thought
that's
here.
Right, with that more context, I might have a different point of view. I doubt it, but maybe he's right. I don't know. What I heard, that Negro needs his head examined.
This is a older millennial black person whose following are millennials in Atlanta, Georgia. What are the odds of a person having that following with that message in Atlanta, Georgia, who's, by the way, a New Yorker, who's, by the way, a Caribbean, who's, by the way, have had negative run-in with the cops? What are the odds?
What does that mean? What does that mean?
Justin somehow, because of his political and social positioning, he's not going to be someone who'll be anti-black? Because disabuse you of that notion.
Listen to what I'm saying, James. His following, about him, his following, which Courtney is very right, following which copious number, who's far exceeding most churches nowadays. There's a multi-hour wait to get in his church. Those are not boomers. Those are not Gen Zers. Those are millennials. Who is in Atlanta, Georgia, who is very cognizant of the plight of Black America and social justice. You mean to tell me those people will submit to a person who is doing that rhetoric in Atlanta, Georgia?
Yes,
clearly, without question, yes.
You know how? Do you know how conservative the South is? Do you know how conservative the South is? You know how conservative Atlanta is.
You're from Atlanta. Atlanta is not the South, baby.
Christians, most Christians from the South are conservative. Josh, come on.
Atlanta,
let's be for real. It does not matter if you're black.
Georgia is not the South.
That's not true. That
New
is the
Orleans
South.
is
or
not subject.
That's not
conservative,
true.
it doesn't matter. When have you ever gotten opprobrium from a black audience speaking against black people? For decades, Democratic politicians have come to black church services to promote themselves and said a little bit about those without, and likened them to being more criminal, more violent, less palatable to mainstream audiences in general, and then got nothing but stand-up applause.
Yeah,
Hillary
that's
did it,
1990s,
Bill did
James.
it, Barack
That is
did it,
today's
and you
church.
can never go wrong going in front of a black audience talking about black people who aren't there.
Understand?
James not lying.
Do you understand, James, how sensitive people? James, my friend, and we hang up. I'll tell you who it is, James. My friend has lost half his membership. You know why? Because he didn't speak on the police shootings. James, we're in a weird spot now where the church is being held accountable for the last 10 years, okay? If you don't speak on these issues, you don't have a membership. You don't. That's why oneness felon. That's why, a lot of these pseudo-conservative preachers are failing, because the audience now is saying, you will speak on my plight. So once again, if that trend is true, in Atlanta, Georgia, which is geographically in the South, but philosophically is not in the South.
That's
you
not
mean to
true.
tell me millennials, not him, but millennials, you, I, and Jesse, who are pro-life, pro-human, pro-live and let live, will follow someone who is spewing that kind of Uncle Tom crap?
Yes.
It makes no sense.
Josh, you going?
First time, I don't know what we're talking
It
about.
makes no sense.
Look, how often have black preachers? You know more about this than me. How often have black preachers been drummed out of their own congregations for being homophobic, xenophobic?
You are
anti-Muslim,
brother. I'm speaking on
Answer
social
his question.
Answer. That does not count. That is not, James. I'm speaking of, James, social justice. Speaking on the plight of black men getting shot by police officers, or black poverty. Those people are not conservative. Now, we are very conservative on gays, conservative on abortion, but black people in general nowadays are very liberal on social justice.
No.
We are holding the last.
Here's the problem with
black
all of that.
people are not a monolith.
With all of that doesn't change.
The black
If you're
church,
not willing to support the trans among us, you're not supporting black people. If you're not willing to support gays among us, you're not supporting black people. You're not supporting black women among us, you're not supporting black people. And everything I heard about that guy just now in this conversation, the first time I've ever been exposed to any rhetoric from that bald-headed bastard, was only about hating on black folk who are willing to stand up against oppression. That's what it sounded like to me, because that's what it was.
Well, chat, we have an issue then, because they're millennials now who are going backwards, okay? Who are looking at social justice now as a burden.
Josh, let's be for real. Let's be honest. Let's be honest about this. You know, we'll use you. You conservative, and you're a young black person. Let's be for real.
Number one, I'm not conservative.
I was conservative.
No, I'm not. Number one, I'm not conservative. Number one. Number two.
Okay.
When it comes now, you're right. I'm conservative on government. Okay, I want smaller government. However, when it comes to social justice, I'm very liberal. I don't know any black brother other than that clown Anton Daniels and a few others. I don't know any black person.
The numbers in the vote for Kamala have shown the truth.
The trend is growing. The trend is growing.
The numbers are there.
I had
James, let go, James.
Do it, James. What you got?
Let it go, James. Let it go.
Let's go.
James,
James,
you've had an amazing appearance, bro.
Move, Josh.
You've been amazing, James. Let it go, bro.
Use that evidence at
James,
all. Like,
James, let it go, bro. You've been amazing, bro. They're gonna turn on you. They're gonna turn on you, James. Listen, they're gonna turn on you.
Let me hear it.
They're not gonna turn on him.
The Harris are so small to suggest somehow that is indicative of a trend is just. I wish we had more evidence. I just wish that wasn't it. It's not like going from this percentage point to this percentage point is not quite much. But
James, this is the point that I was trying to make. The point that I was trying to make was the fact that men, this is what I'm saying. The fact that men were not willing to, some men were not willing to vote for a woman because of their views is what I'm saying. I know that's a reach, but the point that I'm trying to prove is that young men are more conservative, especially young Black men are more conservative, especially if they're in the church, than what we think. And the votes were just an example of that. And I know that was a reach.
No, it's not a reach because 7 to 15, that's a double. That double.
Okay, so James,
What we're not seeing here are the numbers,
Jesse,
the millions of voters that we're representing with these percentages. When the populations
Also,
themselves change, that's one thing. But Josh, you go ahead.
Also, too, that is skewed. These are Black voters. I don't see men here, so these are women and men. Also, too, I listened recently. There are.
Oh, this is.
Go ahead,
this is. I think this
Black,
is men.
it's Black. No, it's Black voters. It said Black voters. My whole point.
And the image we're seeing right now is that presidential support among Black voters, but that's not necessarily the only concern here. The concern is we're seeing estimates for 2016 and 2020. We're seeing a poll for 24. And in all of this, we're not looking at the millions of voters that we're talking about here. The number of voters in 2024 in comparison to 2016, people who are voting in 2020 in the middle of the pandemic. Like, those numbers do change, and that part of it matters exceptionally. But also, to Courtney's point, I don't think you're going far enough. I think there were millions of men out there, regardless of race, who are proven in every single election that any woman has run in, that they are utterly unwilling to see the leader of the country be a woman. In the same way that millions of white Americans were utterly unwilling to see a Black man as president. This is not news. This is very much true. To your point, it is absolutely correct that many voters were just misogynists. Just like many voters in 2008 and 2012 were just racist. Their only reason for voting against the difference was that they didn't want difference to lead them. We should be as unflinching about that assessment as possible because it is the truth. And when we are unflinching about that assessment, we know how to defeat it. What was also true in 2016 and 2024 was that we had middle of the road conservative Democrat politicians who were not willing to sacrifice their adoration from a center-right perspective in the electorate in order to appeal to young Black men who, without something reaching out to them, were not inclined to disabuse themselves of their own misogyny. Both are true. You have to actually go out and reach voters. I have every confidence that Kamala Harris running again would be able to get rid of some of those mistakes and go out and reach voters. I remember, as some people may or may not, when Bakari Sellers put her in a room with Uncle Luke. And I never thought that Kamala Harris speaking to Uncle Luke was a thing that was going to be on my bingo card that year. But apparently it happened. And why? Because Uncle Luke, believe it or not, was a moderately influential Black columnist in Florida, and reaching out to him and getting him on her side because he was against her initially, given the person she chose to marry and other things that shouldn't matter to her candidacy, was just kind of stupid. And they had a conversation, and next thing you knew, Luke Campbell was the biggest Kamala supporter you could ask for. Just speaking to us, reaching out to us as human beings is usually enough. Democratic politicians of every stripe are reluctant to do that because reaching out to us, historically and currently, Paul Freimer, Uncanny Alliances, look it up, will get other folk within our coalition, all those educated white voters, to disabuse themselves of the idea of supporting people like us. They don't actually want to. We know that. It still means we should work within a multiracial society. It still means we can make our point of view heard. It still means protest is better than passive nothingness. That Negro we just saw was trash. Just in case anyone's still watching, we should just be willing to admit that. But we should also be willing to admit that if we're seeing evidence of Black voters becoming more conservative over time, we need to look at the most macro possible lens to make that claim. It's hard to make that claim in a few scant presidential cycles when so much else has happened.
The biggest reason for us doing this panel, I know we all kind of talked about it, me, Josh, and Courtney, is we want to make sure that another 2024 doesn't happen again. And we feel like, a lot of the reasoning for the lack of participation even, or just, people switching parties or whatever it may be, is because the Black church is starting to morph into this, white patriarchy ordeal, whatever you want to call it. And so we want to be the voices that attacks the cancer and get it at its core. And if it's just little people like us, making noise about it because we brought it to your attention. We don't know who you may influence one day, but we wanted to bring it to your, people like you, bring it to your attention that this is a growing trend. It's certain algorithms out there that you would never come across because you're just not looking for it. Just like Charlie Kirk. Nobody knew who Charlie Kirk was. Well, I did, because me and him are like pretty much the same age. Nobody knew who Charlie Kirk was until he died. And then you start seeing all that. They have so many niches out here on the internet that you would never see. So we want to just bring acknowledgement to people. You form your own opinion at the end of the day. Screw Josh. But, you form your own opinion about these things. But we just want to bring awareness to these type of ideologies and things that's going on. So
I want to push back on one thing you said, Jess. It's one thing, and be careful with this. And you too, chat. Although I don't think JESSYE meant this. This is what it comes off as. If you don't vote a certain way or view a certain way, then you are at the altar of supremacy. You are able to be mind shaped. You're not a person who thinks for themselves.
So how can you say that? How can you have respectability politics when it's a 7.7% unemployment rate right now and there's no type of relief there? How can you cut the respectability thing out?
I never mentioned what I'm saying is I never mentioned that right there. What I'm saying is when you assume a person's motives or a person's motivations are only because of white supremacy or because of somebody else leading them, then you take away the agency of that person to think for themselves. Anybody who is, let's say, for example, your electrician in Texas, okay, who is far removed from that 7.7. He or she is upper middle class. He or she is in a suburb of Houston, for example. He or she has college paid for. Their kids are fine. They are removed from that. Now, their experience, what you're saying is, if their experience is not the same as the majority, then they are at the altar of white supremacy. I'm not saying you're wrong in general. What I'm saying is you don't have the right to strip someone of their agency to think for themselves and then blame it on you must be led by the white man. What you're saying then is if Black people are not a part of the general populace, then they are led astray.
Can we be honest here? Hold on, but can we be honest here? Let's be honest. Do we really think that people that are part of MAGA are really critically thinking?
This is not MAGA I'm referring to.
No, answer her question. Hey, answer her question.
No, I don't think they're critical thinking. But I'm not referring to them though. I'm referring to a person in our community only that has, and once again, I'm not saying JESSYE meant this, but his word said this. I'm hearing this from other people. If you don't get in line with a certain view or a certain viewpoint, then you are automatically weak-minded because you are led astray by white
Who said
by
all of
supremacy.
that? I'm trying to figure out who said that. Go
Jesse,
ahead,
what you just
James.
said, Jesse, was
Because I
Hold
just
on,
can't help
James.
myself at all right this point. This is what happens when you have a couple of old fashioned and do a podcast. So be really upfront about this. Yes, you can't believe in MAGA and be pro-black. No problem
no
saying
one
that these
said
are
that.
just
Who said
diametrically
MAGA?
opposed
Who said MAGA?
positions here. And further,
James, who said MAGA?
you know what? You want to call something different? Fine. I honestly think you can vote Republican and be pro-black. No problem saying that. But guess what? Lightning has not struck me. I'm just gonna, oh no, that's not lightning. So be really upfront about this. No, if you're extra conservative to the point where you hate entire huge constituencies within our population. If you honestly think the best way for black men to be is seen and not heard, I don't want to have anything to do with you. You over there. Go find whatever.
I'm sorry.
Maybe.
What person you was talking to? You referring to right now?
Look, I'm completely riffing. I'm a little drunk. But here's the entire point.
Go ahead.
No problem
I
saying
love it.
there's something wrong with being on the right side in a world where Jesse Waters is there, in a world where Pete Hegseth is there, in a world where JD Vance is there. People who have never cared about anyone in a call like this don't want to see us doing anything but working for their benefit, if at all, and usually not at all. We have a society where it is more reasonable from their perspective to not be visible and wealthy and educated and black. Like, we're supposed to go to all these schools and not sell drugs on the corner, but if we actually do anything with that education, we're the bad guy. I am done. I am done being nice about a conservative point of view that hates the skin I'm in and everyone who looks like me, who hates folk in my community who find love with each other just because they're of the same gender, who find love with each other just because they're finding love with someone who might be one of their daughters. I don't have the time to tell people who are adults, consenting and otherwise, to just who are out here living their lives, that there's something wrong with them because of who they are. And everything that I hear as a black man in good standing, 44 years old, almost 45 next month, I know it's crazy for me too. I never expected all this great, but right in the here and now, those people tell me I shouldn't exist. That I took a spot from somebody more deserving because I went to Ivy League institution for undergrad. I took a spot from someone more deserving because I went to the number 21 law school in the country. I don't have patience for these people. I can't. And every single time I am told I should by people who want to understand where these poverty-stricken whites are coming from, I always get the same opinion. No. My benefit, my upper standing, whatever it is I bring to the table in the terms of folk like Kevin Samuels, who is a whole other conversation, everything I am cannot be dependent upon white largesse. Either I earned it for myself or I didn't. And I know what I did. So all those white folk can go sit down somewhere. I'm sorry, I can't be We've done something in this society. We have built this place. We know our way around. And that doesn't stop being true just because somebody white gets offended when we show up in a tan suit. Like, I can't do this anymore. It's 22. Damn near the Jetsons out here, and we still got these old-timey races. I get mad when I see a black man in a car that's nicer than mine. You should have taken your crack ass to school. I'm not being nice about it. No. And if you didn't, it's not my fault. And if your son didn't, it's not my fault. And if your grandson didn't, it's not my fault. I'm the gentrifier in this white neighborhood I live in. I'm the one who brought money in here. I know what the hell I've done. Jefferson Paris ain't seen nothing like this before. And you know what? They leave me be. You know why? 'Cause I got more money than they do. I don't have to apologize for a damn thing. I know I'm black. I've been black the whole time. Woo. I clearly I've been drinking, but I'm in front with it. I can't handle this stuff, man. No.
Well, we thank you so much for coming on tonight. This was a surprise, and every week we do this.
James.
Monday is at 9:00.
Yes.
I did not expect this to go off the rails like this, but you definitely, the chat is loving you, James.
Yes.
So, do you have any social media info or anything like that where we can find you? They want you to start a podcast, actually.
I don't know if I should be that person. Usually on Threads, the Darker Nation, all together as one word. Yeah, man. Honestly, I'm working all the time. I really think about very much else. I did want to make one point, if I may. I'm very sorry. I've been talking a lot, but very recently, a very good friend of mine passed away, and when I went to Cornell, it was the first person I met there. Young brother out of Maryland, by the name of Will West. He used to post at WilliamBruceWest.com. He real comic book head, really knew everything there was to know about superhero comics. He used to say, he forgot more about pop culture than anyone you've ever known. And we lost him to a stroke just this past Saturday. It was very, very sad. Left behind 2 kids and a wife.
Sorry to hear that.
We're sorry to hear that.
I am too. I am too. But what Will West leaves me with, outside of a lot of funny moments and a really just amazing memories, is that it is very possible to go through this life and to live with white supremacy, to live with the harm that we all face, and think you can do nothing, and to have that wear you down, and you make your entire world about helping your family, helping your friends, making it not small but personal, about really getting things done the right way. And therein lies the real help we need. Black folk, if you are out here listening to any of this, go get yourselves checked. Make sure your health is right.
Amen.
It's so important. If your blood pressure is high, do stuff to bring it down. See doctors, talk to people, make sure you are dealing with your physical and mental health. It really matters, because white supremacy wants you dead. We want you to live and to thrive and to be okay. Everybody on this call wants Black people to do good. We can disagree about how we get there, but that's always been the point. And I sincerely hope we're all following that point of view, because the outcome otherwise is not positive.
We want to get your social media information one more time. I was trying to look it up while you were speaking.
Yeah, the Darker Nation. Let me.
The Darker Nation or Darker Nation?
The Darker, TheDarkernation. That's where I am on Threads. That's usually
good. I can follow you.
Find me. That's usually _ the Darker Nation. I forgot that part.
_ the Darker Nation. If someone could put that in the chat, that would be great. _ the Darker Nation.
Okay, I found it. Okay.
So that's me. But yeah, I really appreciate this time speaking with you guys. It was really a lot of fun. Probably a little too much fun. My wife is going to probably ask me, what? I wasn't yelling. I was just speaking forcefully.
Yes.
Anyway,
James, thank you so much for gracing the platform this evening. I thoroughly, enjoyed you being here, and I've definitely enjoyed your views, and we hope to have you again on the platform soon.
Certainly. If you get a chance to come through, I'd love to talk about some more. So thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you so much, James.
Love you, bro. Good job, man. Amazing job.
Hey, appreciate y'all.
Thank
y'all
you.
Enjoy. Thanks again, Josh, for the invite.
My pleasure, bro.
Josh.
Did not our hearts burn? I felt like I went to a revival.
I got a burn. I put James's his Instagram and his Threads account in the chat. Oh Lord Jesus, I don't know what to say. You two, I gotta.
What's wrong?
Courtney, what's your final thoughts, ma'am?
What's wrong with you, Jess?
What's your final thoughts, Courtney? I'll be right back.
Okay. Um. First of all, I've always enjoyed Millennial Mondays, and I enjoyed having the fresh perspective on the platform. So that was amazing. And Josh, I enjoyed your views as well. So I hope you don't feel like we were ganging up on you or anything like that. But in conclusion, I will say that something I think that we all are saying, well, I can't speak for Josh, I don't know, but I think what we're saying is in this day and time, there is no middle anymore. It used to be okay for you to be Black and to be Republican, but things are so skewed now that it's black and white. There is no gray anymore.
Yes.
And so all we're saying is that although, yes, you can be a free thinker or a free moral agent, whatever the case may be, at the end of the day, nowadays, if you vote Republican, you stand for something that's totally the antithesis of what you are or what your people fought for, if that makes any sense.
Yes.
That's all we're saying in a nutshell.
I don't mind, like, I had friends in high school that were Republican and things of that nature, went to the military and all of that. That's back when it was John Kerry.
Right.
Not John Kerry. I forgot the one guy back in 2012.
Who, Al Gore?
Not Al Gore, the Republican
Romney.
guy that
Romney.
Mitt Romney.
Mitt Romney.
They were disrespectful, but they were not oppressive. I can deal with disrespect, but I can't deal with your oppression. And this right here, I can't have conversation. I can't have debates about what's right and what's wrong, because when you sit down and you listen to these people that's on the other side of the field, they're not making any sort of logical sense. So out of desperation for my own sanity, I've decided to not engage at all with anybody that's on that side of the fence.
Me too.
I'm sorry. It is what it is. You can say it's disrespectful. It's you just popping the clip, whatever you want to call it.
Oh, does Josh have a cash app? Candace wants to know. Hey, cousin.
No, Josh got a cash slab. No. Okay. You get your ass up here on this damn platform screaming and yelling and screaming. I'm gonna pop your ass.
All right, hold on. Full transparency. James and I have been friends for about 4 years. All right. I'm a better person. I'm a better debater. I'm smarter because I know him. He and I have spent many a night over some good scotch, some high-end bourbon, screaming at each other. So it's not Jesse, I apologize. It's he and I. It's the muscle memory. When he comes back, I would be more careful about that. But like I said, it's the muscle memory.
No, I'm really
and Jay. Last point. Him, and Jay and I, and Jay's another person you should bring up. Yeah. We are three guys that are very, very different. However, we all have the same thing. We love and adore Black people, and I'm so happy you got to experience the wisdom of James. James is and to you Christians who say you can't have atheist friends, let that be an example right there that God does not have respect of person when it comes to wisdom and influence. Speak to everyone, get to know everyone.
That's good.
And thank you, Jesse, for
the I always got to clean up Josh's mess. Now, I will say this, and we're gonna get up out of here. But first of all, y'all give it up for y'all wonderful selves in the chat, for sitting through this mess. But but no, y'all, for real, go check out. I forget to do this. Y'all go check out Courtney. Subscribe to her if you haven't done so yet. I think everybody's direct link should be in the description, but I'll put it in there on the replay.
Thank you.
And also go check out Josh. He's been kinking out, pushing out a bunch of content.
Amazing content.
I know we had a spat there. You know, we do this every week over here at Millennial Mondays with Josh. You know, he ain't gonna get right, ain't get right, can't get right. One thing I will say about Josh though is that even though he's moderate, you know, a little right leaning, a little bit, whatever you want to call it. I will say this about him. Sometimes when you have black men that you know, they obtain certain wealth and they obtain certain things in life and they move to certain neighborhoods and things of that nature, they throw away the whole community. And we see this over and over again. I will say this. It was beautiful to see him say, "Hey, Jesse, I have a friend. I want to bring him on the show tonight." And, you know, I was like, well, I don't know what to think of him, but I was like, sure, I would love that, you know. And then to hear him have, you know, his friend, you know, agree with or made a lot of points that I would have made, you know. So, you know, that speaks to Josh's real character. You know, when me and him are having discussions off the phone, back and forth, text messaging and carrying on. That's really his character. I don't know what he be doing. What is it when you get over here? You be always going up in here and always doing all this mess.
Well,
what do you do every single week? You get your ass on St. James, you a pastor, you get on your platform, you a damn psychologist, then you come on my platform and you Pookie the Fool.
Hey, maybe it's you. Maybe you pay the rest.
No, it's not me. You just you want to sit there and blame me. Thank y'all for coming through tonight, but you gotta cut that out.
Would you please? I got one last thing. That was very kind of words. I thank you and unexpected. Thank you so
it's not gonna happen again. It's not gonna happen again.
It happened one time, more than what I expected from you. So thank you.